Morning.
Morning.
Justin's not going to be able to make it today. He had an emergency come up this morning, so he's not going to be with us. Monty, do you want to pray for us this morning?
Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you for this day, Lord. We just thank you for all your many blessings, upon us here in this county. And we just ask that you be with us today as we conduct this business and that we do it in a manner that's pleasing to you. We just pray all these things in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll go ahead and call Marshall County Fiscal Court to order, October 18th, 2022. Under guests, Brian Cutsinger. Good morning, sir. Good to see you.
Well, I'm here today for ambulance remount bids. We had sent out bids to a couple of vendors. I think the approval to send the bids out was done a few meetings ago. So we plan today to have the bid openings. I had sent 2 bid specification packets out. I think we've received one, which I've reviewed. That's a company that we've used for a lot of our remounts. The other company that I sent bids specifications out to was a company that's done a lot of our new builds. The one, Select Tech out of Shelbyville, Tennessee, they sent an actual bid in to where Osage, they sent me an email stating that they didn't feel comfortable submitting a bid just due to the time frame that it would take for us to get the remount. So he said that they were just going to hold off on bidding because they weren't going to bid something that was going to be a year and a half to two years out. So they opted not to. I reviewed the packet that Select Tech sent in, and all the specifications were met. Like I said, the company is a company that we've used for just about all of our remounts. They're a good company to use. So I believe the remount amount was $134,175, and it would be my recommendation to approve that bid.
All right.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
I tell you, we'll go right into discussion if you want. Brian, we got awarded, it's going to be item B, but we got awarded from the state funding regarding the devices that we put in.
Yeah, the Homeland Security grant. So yeah, we were fortunate enough this year that the Kentucky Office of Homeland Security approved our grant for $72,000. The project that we had going was one that the Fiscal Court had helped us get to. So the project is that all of our heart monitors on all of our ambulances had reached the point to where they were outdated. So the company that manufactured them was no longer making replacement parts. They were no longer servicing them. So we were kind of put in a position that we were going to have to get new heart monitors. And the Fiscal Court approved earlier this year for us to purchase 3, which, like I said, we needed a total of 6. So my plan was that with the court purchasing 3, is if we could get Homeland Security to fund the other 3, then that would outfit all 6 of our ambulances. So we were fortunate enough a few days ago to get the notification that we did get the $72,000 to replace the other 3. So that will be totally outfit all of our ambulances with new heart monitors, which is obviously a good thing.
Yes.
So very, very happy for that. Very happy for our service to get that money from them. So it's much needed equipment. So it'll be put to good use.
Outstanding. And just to follow on that, the same grant that we got probably 2 years ago with about $79,000. Brian's putting together his need package to fit that $79,000 to help with your infrastructure and your radio.
Right,
so.
and that's looking at replacing all of our radios, from our handhelds to the portables, all the ambulances all the radios in all of our ambulances, our response vehicles, because our radios now are right at 10 years old, which I can't remember exactly what they call the useful life on them is, but I think 10 years is a little longer than that. So yeah, we're hoping to be able to outfit all of our radios as well with that money.
Okay.
So
Good.
right.
Thanks, sir.
You.
Thank you.
I will go back to item A, correspondence. This is September personnel changes. Jerry Kemp, full-time sanitation term, September 1st, 22. Coy McCurry, court security, part-time to full-time, effective September 1st, 22, at $15 an hour. Benny Garland, full-time, road department wage increase to $21.036 an hour, retroactive to January 1st, 22. Anthony Greenmore, part-time park maintenance termed September 9th, 22. Wade Boggs, emergency management director term September 30th, 22. Sheriff McGuire, retired September 30th, 22. So those are the personnel changes. Go back to item B, there were 2 grants that were awarded. The KOHS, Kentucky Office of Homeland Security, I'll just read this. We just heard from Brian on the heart monitors. On behalf of Governor Andy Beshear, the Kentucky Office of Homeland Security, would like to take this opportunity to congratulate you on the successful grant application submitted for FY 2022 Homeland Security Grant Program. The application referenced above has been awarded grant funding in the amount of $422,162. Approved scope of work. Grant funding shall be used for the purchase of P25 communication, upgrade, repeaters, microwave, base station radios in Marsh County for law enforcement. Obviously, with these grants, we aren't to spend anything until we have a grant meeting. But is there any discussion on these grant dollars? I know when we were first discussing the overall project, there may have been some potential discussions if we were approved.
So the entire project, if I'm remembering right, was it $1 million, or was it, what was the original grant application that we made?
802.
802.
I think, and I'm going off the top of my head, I think the entire project was about 1.6.
Yeah.
That's obviously you're going to phase that in throughout the grant cycles. Obviously, we need to try to get as much money as we can on from these grants.
But this is substantially less, though, than what we applied for, correct?
Well, what was submitted, yes, this was 400 and, this again, 422,000.
So, I mean, obviously, like you said, we discussed if awarded this, that we would come back and discuss this. Obviously, the first thing then is the difference in what we applied for and what we were awarded leaves us a substantial shortage here. So I guess if we were, the only way that we could even consider accepting this is if we were to commit more funds to it, right? Because at
No.
this point, we've committed 216.
Now, if you look at the grant dollars, there's only so much grant monies that the state has. What we put together was obviously a build-out cost. I think it was I don't know why I'm thinking 1.6 is a total cost. But I think we need to look at this as we got awarded $422,000 towards that cost. At the end of the day, there's going to be a substantial build-out cost, just like the 3 heart monitors. If it wasn't for us stepping in as a court and funding the other 3 heart monitors, he'd still be looking at 3 more heart monitors for 3 other ambulances. We would then, one option could be go back through the grant cycle again. But to say that this amount is less substantially to the total project, sure it is. But there's only so much monies that the state's got to give. grants, award grants to, I don't know how many grants were put in, but they're looking across the state. And there's only so much monies. So to get this amount, I think is substantial in the bigger picture. Because that's $422,000 that does not have to come from our purse. That's just my position on it.
True, but if it is, I guess, if it's a part of a larger project that, in my opinion, we have not totally committed to the entire, let's say it is 1.6, we have not totally committed to that 1.6 until we know how much we're getting in grant dollars, correct?
Say that again.
So I don't believe we've ever 100% committed to that specific project. Let's say if it is $1.6 million.
Then why would we submit a grant?
Obviously we submitted it at the time. And again, we submitted that, I don't remember the 1.6, but I thought we submitted that based on a $800,000 plan. That again was not.
I'm trying to understand what you're saying. So let's just take this.
I guess let's do it this way then. What do you feel like that we will spend, or what will we spend this $422,162 on?
Well, if you look at the grant submission, if it was 800 and something thousand that we submitted, then a portion of that's what this is going to be spent on.
But I guess what I'm not.
But let me ask you this: take this grant off the table. What's the plan, and where's the money coming from?
That's a good point.
I mean,
it is a valid point, and what I've said several times is to see all those affected at the table.
Absolutely. Okay.
Why is that? Why?
I'll tell you why.
But
people have sat in here and said, send monies back to the state. When we actually, and it's not, when you say everybody's sitting at the table, we have right now equipment that is down that we're actually trying to work locally to get up, to get in service. I mean, when I say our infrastructure, it's not just this type of infrastructure. Our infrastructure, period, from roads to this to buildings. When we just got awarded $422,000 from the state, and I'm in a discussion as far as what are we going to do with that money, and I haven't heard any other plan. And
so
what I'm hearing is to go, do y'all want to send this back? Do you want to accept it or send it back?
that is not what I'm saying, is to send this back. That's not what I asked you. That's not what I said.
I'm just asking.
But listen, so if we take this as I'm building my house and it cost $800,000, and I'm going to put $200 toward it and get a loan for the rest, and then the bank comes back and says, I'm only loaning you $422,000, is it not a legitimate question to say, what do we do? Or do we say, okay, then I cannot build that $800,000 house, I can only build $600,000, and what am I going to do now with that? Is that not the same thing?
In this situation, I'm going to have to go back to, I don't know, it was maybe 3 years ago. there was a presentation at Post 1. The build-out for this specific infrastructure was about $130 million. The state was in the exact same situation. They were building out from the west to the east. The only reason why I can think they did that is because the terrain in the east is going to be a lot more, it's going to be difficult. But the build-out, when we're talking about the state program on this particular grant and what these monies are going for, $130 million, it's going to take time. We've seen Post get equipment, radio equipment. We've seen counties apply for these same monies, and this has been going on for a couple of years now. They buy their equipment first that's in the units, and then as the infrastructure is put in place, I think there was discussion maybe last year in this court. You know, and I think it was commented that, you know, might have been you, Commissioner Spraggs, you talked to some troopers. They had the radios in their units, but the towers were on the ground. The old infrastructure was in place. So when we're talking about this, the monies, there's only so much monies. The state's got the same constraints. So in their planning and preparation, and this has been going on, I've sent representatives to these meetings over the past several years. They've told us how much the cost is going to be, and communities have or have not planned to buy in. So when I'm sitting here saying that, you know, this is how much we submitted for a grant, obviously we didn't get awarded 100% of the grant. We got awarded $422,000. But what you're saying is to go back to the table and have a discussion. Well, you can do that, but these dollars have the clock starts ticking, so to speak. There's only so much time that these monies are going to be available. And that's really where we're at today. So, you know, to say that here's the plan, it's 100% funded, and slap the table, we're not in that position. So to build out, you got to build it out, and you got to have your, you know, obviously your monies identified. This grant was one of them. If we didn't get the grant monies, well, then we're going to have to figure out where the monies are coming from. And in this case, you know, this is a huge award for us as a community, moving to a step that's desperately needed.
There's not a agency I'm aware of in the county that supports going to this system. That's my big problem with it. And Commissioner Collins had alluded to have a sit-down meeting with them and discuss it, and I think that's exactly what needs to be done. I know the radio costs are going to be astronomical for all of the agencies, and I mean, that's a huge concern of theirs. So if we're sitting here making a decision on something that's going to affect all of them, I would like to hear what they have to say. And, you know, if they have a plan to pay for the radios. I mean, this could also lead into a situation where we have to have multiple towers at $1 million apiece. We're able to put this one on an existing tower, but if you have to start putting up towers also, we could end up with $3 or $4 million dumped into this, and we don't have it to dump.
You know, again, I guess back to the original, what would we do with this first batch of this number? It's like you said, so if we just look at this, if this is a $1.6 million project, and we look at this as the first step, then is there money even, I mean, is there something that you can even spend this for to begin that $1.6 million project, I guess? That's the difference in this grant, I guess, than any other grant that we've talked about, to me, is that it has normally gone towards the specific project, and that being a one-time deal, like the DRA grant. I mean, it's a $500,000 project. You get a $500,000 award, and you start that project. With this one, it seems to me to be different. You disagree?
Yes, DRA
Okay.
monies are basically a totally different set of monies, totally different guidelines. And you're talking 120 counties in the state of Kentucky. There's over 250-something counties in the Delta Regional area. Those monies, past 7 years, I think we've received, the Fiscal Court has received 2 grants. They're very competitive dollars. Obviously, the project was put around the dollars that we had asked for. If we didn't get the monies, then the project didn't happen, period, unless local monies were put towards that project. Same thing, you got 120 counties in the state of Kentucky that are competing for these dollars. These are restricted dollars. We've had these discussions as far as what can be requested. So, I mean, my question is, through the discussions that this court has had, where's the money coming from?
For the rest of the $1.6 million?
If these dollars aren't used, then where's the money coming from?
I mean, if these dollars aren't used, it's because we're not doing anything.
Oh, you're going
Right.
to have to doing something, because it's 20 plus year infrastructure. It's old. But we've had these discussions, and my question, and
And it's not resolved.
it's not what?
It's not resolved, is it?
Is what not?
Is this the resolution? Is this the resolution, the final? Hey,
I
we
can,
move on.
I can tell you what
this
this
plus
is.
the 216.
This is monies coming to our community. It's simple as that. It's monies
But-
coming to our community
But
to improve our infrastructure.
so we've had, you've mentioned it several times when it comes to grant monies, and as a taxpayer, and I get that. But if being awarded a grant ends up costing you and taxpayers another $1 million, then I feel like it is our duty.
Explain that to me. Break
It's
that
a
down.
1.6. You
Okay,
just said it's a
I'm-
$1.6 million.
I'm going off the top of my head. The grant we submitted in this particular grant was over 800,000.
Okay.
But the total is, in my estimation, is about 1.6. But break that down for me.
Such as what?
Where's-
800? I mean,
No.
I can sit here.
Where's the money coming from? It's going to come locally. I mean, that's the only other place that it can come, if it's not going to come from these dollars. Because these are restricted dollars.
Absolutely. But if it's the difference in $800,000 and 1.6. So where's that money coming from for the next court to figure out? You know what I mean? I mean, if this is a $1.6 million project, or even if it's a $800,000, I mean, let's stick with the 800. It is still, we're still short of where we had hoped to be.
I don't see it that way.
Okay.
I see it, we submitted a grant for, I don't know if you can pull that up, Corey, from the previous minutes. It's about 800-something thousand.
Right at it.
Our goal was to get 100% approved. That obviously didn't happen. That happens all the time. This is not unusual that you submit a grant and you don't get 100% funding for it. I think the biggest issue is that we identify the need, which is the infrastructure. We're not dipping into our local tax dollars, although that when you start looking at cost sharing in this, we're going to have to. There's no other way around it. The question is do we want to follow the state recommended interoperability plan, which that's a whole nother subject matter, and we've already witnessed that in our community, how it's a negative impact within our community. But these dollars are to help us over the course of however many years it takes us to get to our goal. In discussions that we've had in this court, and what some direction that others want to go, these dollars won't be available. And the question is simple. Where is the money going to come from? Well, we have taxes. We tax the people in our community. If you're lucky to find other grant dollars that you can get awarded. But ultimately, no matter if it's $800,000 or $1.6 million, cost sharing is the best way to fund anything. But I'm not in favor of turning away monies that we bring to our community. And the reason why I say that is these are restricted dollars. And we've had those discussions in this court. And I'm not going to continue to beat the drum. $422,000 has been awarded to this community. And there is a time limit on this grant. It obviously isn't going to be solved today, but this community and the leaders that are going to be in these seats have decisions to make. Are they going to put it 100% on the backs of the people, or are they going to cost share? I mean, that's really what it comes down to. So this is just to inform the court that we were awarded $422,000. And I would, as a taxpayer myself, I support this type of initiative because it's bringing monies back to our community. And I would not put it 100% on the backs of the taxpayers when monies are there to support any project. That's just my position.
Do not support this route. Our agencies do not support this route. And to get 400, it's going to cost us millions. I'm not in favor for that. I'll make a motion not to accept the grant.
Is there a second?
So I don't believe that's necessary to.
It's there at this point. There's a motion. Is there a second? If there's no second, then the motion dies.
Well, then I'll second it for purpose of discussion.
So there's a motion and a second to send the grant monies back to the state.
Okay, discussion. We're not at that point yet. What we need, in my opinion, is to know what this money is going towards. what we need to know is, what are we going to, if we accept these grant monies, what are we going to use it to go towards?
It will all go to finish the project.
I think the answer to that question, the court approved to submit the grant, and these grants are extremely detailed. The answer is in what this court has already submitted, approved to submit. And I'll just share, the court, is the court aware of the current situation with some of our infrastructure that is needing to be replaced? Going right now?
Such as?
The rescue squad repeater. Now, the grant that obviously, I think it was you, Commissioner Sprague, that wanted to send back to the state, this infrastructure is down right now. And, you know, we have worked locally. The sheriff has got an old repeater that he's offered us to use. In the meantime, we've got brought out, that's the new company that took over in Paducah. They sent a tech out to actually take a look at the repeater. We've got infrastructure that's failing right now. And we're taking steps to fix that infrastructure. And the agency didn't even know it.
There was 88,000 that there was a change of scope of work that could have been used to fix that failing infrastructure.
Are you referring to the 79,000 grant that was awarded?
Well, in the meeting I watched, at 42 minutes, it was 88,000. Change of scope was from the fire department to put toward this project.
Which the court approved.
April 20th meeting.
Which the court approved to do that, correct?
I didn't, but it was approved, yes.
Okay. So in addition to that, that's fixing the ambulance services infrastructure and repeaters. That's also dilapidated. Guys, I can't beat the drum enough to tell you our infrastructure as a whole is in dire straits, period. And it's not blaming anybody. It's just, it's in dire straits. So, but what we're doing today to fix the repeater is the agencies working together to use an existing old repeater to improve it to help the rescue squad in case of an emergency where they have to span over a long distance. That's ongoing. So the motion and a second, is there any further discussion on this for this grant? The motion is to deny the grant and send it back to the state. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I oppose. Motion dies. This is obviously monies. There's a time to use these monies over the next, I think, 2 to 3 years. But I would warn the court, not really warn, but I would advise the court, don't put it on the taxpayers.
And that's the point here. I do not,
Oh yeah, it's going to be put on the taxpayers, trust me. And I'm a taxpayer. And I'm telling you right now, I'm going to be very upset if you put it on the backs of these taxpayers in this county. That's all I'm saying. It's ridiculous to think to send these monies back to the state. Absolutely ridiculous.
It's
in my-
ridiculous
in my-
to send
But-
money back for a school resource officer grant too.
But
If you want to talk ridiculous.
But here's the thing with this particular grant that I don't want to see us do is that we spend this 422 plus the 216 that we budgeted, and it ends up turning into another $1 million. That's the issue. That's the thing. This has frustrated me this entire time. Wait a minute. Hang on. I don't understand how we have two sides saying two totally different things about something that's technical. I don't get it. I've never have understood that. And so when I have all of the fire departments within my district call me and say, if y'all do this thing with Motorola, whatever, it will cause us to, every single one of us will have to switch out our radios, then that's my concern.
Do you believe that?
I don't know because, hang on, because, wait a minute, because that's what I'm saying. We've never been in the same spot to hear both sides and someone who is in the middle tell us what's right about this.
Do you know how many years the state has been coming out and educating the communities on this build out?
No.
No. They have been coming out to the communities. They were at Post 1 maybe 3 years ago. This is not new. It's as simple as, do you want to buy into it or do you not? I mean, that's as simple as it is.
I don't know if buy into it's a term. They're wanting us to build it, then pay them a maintenance fee on it. I'm not understanding that whole concept. We build
Well-
it for the state. They have it to use. We pay a $30,000 a year maintenance fee on it. Wow.
Well, the alternative.
What's wrong with that picture?
I don't know about your numbers, but the alternative is that it's 100% on the taxpayers of Marsh County. I mean, that's your alternative. But the motion died. We're going to move on.
But hang on before we move on. This money is not going to be spent. Now, we are still going to decide where this money is going to be spent as a court.
I can't speak for the incoming court. There's not going to be any more action on this because this is probably going to be the incoming court that's going to be making the decisions on this.
Right. That's the point, is that this particular money is not coming to us until 2023 for us to decide what to do with it.
You have to, out of both of these grants, you can't spend any funds until there is a meeting. The actual process is the KOHS staff will sit down with the community. In this case, they'll sit down with my office, obviously the incoming, and this grant is, from the sounds of it, dead on arrival, in my opinion, on how the process works. So.
As long as that is in there, then, I mean, I'm comfortable. That is all I have wanted this whole time is why can we not all be involved and agree to what's going to be
You understand that the court put a grant
application out there. I get that.
You read it.
For when it comes back for us to be able to
Did you see
decide
how
what.
detailed that thing was? The court was given the documents. The court approved it. So all the information is in it. I mean, go back. My recommendation to you would be go back and read it. If you don't have any questions, then go back. I brought the people from the state down here. Not one question was asked. Not one. It was a public meeting. I don't know what else to do. But that document has all the information in it. So we'll move on to item C, just to update the court, the Local Assistance and Tribal Consistency Fund. I requested $100,000 additional monies for our community. And they didn't really give us a timeline. They have been pretty good about getting the monies to us. These are restricted dollars. But we have, and I gave you, Monty, the list last court meeting of all the projected costs. Obviously, when we go into bids, the engineers can project a cost. In that case, we've got at least 3 major projects that are on the table. There are contingency dollars in the Oak Level project. Until we get those actual bids, which I hope Chad can get us the bids on the Hardin project. That's a $1.1 million project. He's got the materials specs, but we need to have the contract costs. So then their numbers will either be up or down. They'll have a better idea as far as what the actual costs are going to be. There are some contingency dollars in the Oak Level project. But I think with North Marshall Waters project, which is a $600,000 project, and the sewer district project, this extra $100,000 to be committed to help either one of those projects, depending on the bids. With the way the economy is, I don't know if the costs are going to go up, continue to go up, or if they're going to go down. But I basically requested $100,000, and through these monies, we still don't know when they're going to hit. But they've been fairly quickly submitted to the counties. So I don't know if we want to go into committing as a court those monies to one of these projects, or all 3, based off of the bids that come in. But I would hate to see those dollars redirected somewhere else for this much-needed infrastructure needs. So what would the wishes of the court be on that?
Are you needing that to be able to apply? Do you have to put in there the specific project? Because I would assume it would just go towards
We put it in for
whatever.
I put it in when I submitted. We just put in for the request for $100,000. Basically, we qualify as a county.
I mean,
And
If-
here's I didn't mean to interrupt you, but here's the thing. You've got the Hardin project that's $1.1 million. We got the material bids on that, and there's about a $3,000 increase that we're going to be discussing here in a second. But for the engineers to project what the cost is going to be, it helps to know what the most recent material costs are. The contract bids is going to be the next one. So that way they can determine if their numbers that they project are up or down. Obviously, we've got the Oak Level project. We've got the North Marshall Water project, and we got the sewer district project. It helps because this is going to be over a period of time, and it's coming probably at the worst time, because obviously there's going to be a change in this government, and some of these dollars have already been committed to these projects. But this $100,000 can be used for the Oak Level project. It can be used for the North Marshall project. It can be used for the sewer district project. What I'm advising the court is to use this $100,000 for the North Marshall Water project. And then once we get the bids, we'll have an idea of those contingency dollars that are on the Oak Level project, if, how much of those contingency dollars are going to be available. They can be used for the North Marshall Water Project as well, or they can be used for the sewer district project on Franklin Road and the sludge beds. So this is just another $100,000 available to us to put towards those projects.
Well, then I would move, if we receive these, that it go towards the North Marshall Water project.
Second.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Hopefully, we'll have those estimates once we get the contract bids. Old business, approve the minutes October 4th meeting.
So moved.
I'm sorry, hang on a second. There were 3 yeas, no nays, so the motion passed. Did you? Okay. Approve the minutes of October 4th meeting. So there's a
So moved.
motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item B, I'm going to ask the court to table this till the next court meeting. I know Justin is not here today, but I think the last discussion on this, he participated, and I'm sure he would want to have a word to say about this. But I would say we table this to the next meeting, which is the 1st of November. Corey? It'd be November 1st.
Second.
So there's a motion to table and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item C, E911, Sheila did send over some correspondence that they did have an individual actually show up. I know they sent some information. Was it 15? I think there were 15 interviews scheduled and 17. 2 showed up. This is the E911 pay scale. Is there any discussion on this? Why don't we table this one as well? Thank you. Why don't we table this one as well? I think Justin, like I said, he had an emergency this morning, but I think this would be a full court discussion.
Second.
So there's a motion. Who made the motion? I didn't hear it.
You.
I didn't. Okay, so I make the motion. Monty seconds. Sorry. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. New business, E911 hire. This is for a position of a new hire dispatcher. Let's see if I get this right. Amy Seisberger? Is that close? Okay. So she is a new hire, full-time, start date the 26th at $13.70.
Move we approve.
A second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. The Hardin Water Project, there's a change order. Okay, so this is the change order. Contract price before the change was $135,339.40. Chad went through and found some items that there was a dollar amount difference, positive of about $3,260.94. So this is a change order before we can order the material. The actual cost price including in this change is $138,650.34. We just need a approval on this change order on that difference.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Notice of award. Let's see, this is notice of award, section 610, GC Supply Company, project description, Hunter Road, Walnut Grove, Church Road, water main extensions. The owner has considered the bid submitted by you for the approved described work in response to its advertisement for bids dated September 28th, 2022. You are hereby notified that your bid has been accepted in the amount of $138,650.34. Please return an acknowledged copy of this notice of award to the owner. Today's date, October 18th, 2022.
So just making sure, because on our drive, it has the 135, but because we just changed that, on
Yes.
that is 138. Okay.
Yes.
I move we approve.
All those, is there a second?
Second.
Second, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. This is the DRA resolution. I'll just read this. Whereas the Delta Regional Authority, hereinafter DRA, was created by Congress by the Delta Regional Authority Act of 2000 as amended as a federal-state partnership now comprised of 252 counties and parishes within the 8 states of Alabama, Arkansas, Illinois, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, Missouri, and Tennessee, in order to remedy several or severe and chronic economic distress by stimulating economic development and fostering partnerships that will have a positive impact on the Delta region's economy. Whereas the Morris County Fiscal Court, acting by and through its commission, proposes to apply for award with DRA for the fiscal year 2022 federal award program cycle. Whereas DRA requires that a person be designated, appointed, and given the authority to perform certain duties in administration of said award for and on behalf of the awardee. Whereas the Morris County Fiscal Court met in regular session on October 18th, 2022, whereby Commissioner Collins, Commissioner Spraggs, and Judge Neal present, constituting a quorum. Whereas a motion was made by, well, we haven't got that far. So this is to accept the grant of $527,158 from the Delta Regional Authority. Is there any discussion on this award of these monies?
I guess the question here is that this particular one says commission proposes to, through its commission, proposes to apply for award,
On
but
which-
we've already applied, right?
Yes.
So does it?
Which document are you looking at?
Well, now, I mean, yours may be different than mine. I printed off what was on the.
Yeah, there's no reference in ours of the grant specific or the amount or anything.
Yeah.
On what I just read, yeah. Have you guys got the supporting documents to that? Did they get this?
No, one page.
The
What is that?
527,158. Do you have this one?
No.
We can make copies. This is the agreement between Delta Regional Authority and the Fiscal Court. The actual amount that's being awarded to the county is $527,158.
And it states on there what it is for, I guess.
Yes, let me just read this. Attached separately to this email, you will find the Delta Regional Authority standard award documents. So these are standard, which must be agreed to for receipt of the notice to proceed. If the terms and conditions in the award documents are acceptable, this page must be signed by the authorized official, notarized, and returned to the basic agency listed below within 45 days. Additionally, if this project budget included and other uncommitted sources of funding, you will have 6 months from the date of this letter to provide DRA with the documentation proving those funds are now authorized for use on this project. Only when all other funds are committed will you receive the notice to proceed. If for any reason either of these two milestones are not met, the DRA award could be rescinded. No project activities shall begin prior to the awardee receipt of the notice to proceed without prior written approval from the DRA. No social media or local press coverage is allowed prior to the awardee receive the notice to proceed without prior written approval from DRA. The awardee will be given a maximum of 12 months from the date of the notice to proceed to request the first reimbursement of DRA funds. Failure to meet this milestone will also result in the award being rescinded. It's $527,158.
So the resolution that's in this one is the one that we've already passed, correct? Like on page 20 or something like that? Is that what you just sent? Do what? What now? Mm-hmm. Then on page 20? But that's different than this one. The one that was on page 20 is what we approved when we applied, correct? Yeah, this is the one from the PAD office that, yeah. It's just kind of confusing, the wording, because it says through its commission purpose to apply for an award when we've already been granted the award. Should it be changed to?
Well, they highlighted what needed to be correct, and that's the portion of this. This is their resolution that they sent us.
Yeah.
What my response would be, what you're asking to change is not what was highlighted.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as far as
I mean, when you couple it with this, and you know, I've discussed it with Greg, I'm comfortable
yeah.
with it.
So this is only for accepting this grant?
For DRA,
Yes.
the 527?
Yes.
Yes. And so we have a resolution, and then the actual agreement. And the agreement is standard, their standard agreement. I would propose we approve or accept the standard agreement and then the resolution as well. So 2 actionable items.
So moved.
Is
Second.
there a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, item E, speed limit sign on Phillips Road. I talked to Roy about this. There's been a few complaints of speeders on Phillips Road. Phillips Road, obviously Jackson School Road off 58, the cut-through road. a portion of it is owned by the city. That portion does have a speed limit sign posted, but then the portion beyond the city limit to Jackson School Road does not. To me, we can discuss putting a speed limit sign up on that end of the road. If speeding is the issue, I don't know if the sign that's already posted is curtailing
Where
people that
is that?
speed.
Where's the sign that's posted?
It's on the city portion.
I know, but like, do you know specifically where? I've never noticed it.
Yeah.
Oh, right as you turn off of Mayfield Highway?
Yeah, it's past the guardrails a little bit. I believe that's right.
I've never noticed it, but I mean, we moved.
Obviously, the request to have a speed limit sign posted is obviously one thing, but if it's speeding, that's the problem. With a road that has both ownership of the city and the county, I don't know if a sign is gonna
I don't know that it's going to, but
slow down.
Yeah, but
So, I asked Roy, I said, I forget the name of the road, the county road, that Clemsford. Clemsford and Phillips Road.
Chelmsford. Chelmsford.
Jam.
Chelmsford. Right?
That's not how the road department pronounces
Is
it.
that the way that the road sign is? Because it would be wrong. Then.
I always thought it was Chelmsford.
I mean, it has an H. We're going to assume.
Silent.
Oh, it is? But where does the L come from then? Clems. So a silent H is now an L in your vernacular.
We'll blame
All
it
right.
on the pad. The pad threw that L in. Know about it.
There is an L in it, just not where where you're saying it is. Okay, anyway, Chelmsford.
Yeah. I asked Roy, I said, well, if we want to really have an impact on speeding, why not just put a stop sign? Therefore, people have to stop. Yeah.
At the bottom of that hill?
Well, obviously, the terrain is a factor as well.
Yeah.
So,
I lived there since I was 5, and we were right there where Kirtner is. And I mean, you're taking your life in your own hands to pull out of that. But I don't know that it's ever been any different.
yeah,
It's a tight road regardless.
I travel that road a couple times a day at a minimum, and I would make a motion, we put a stop sign, a speed limit sign on the county end of that. It certainly can't hurt if we continue to have problems, and maybe we need to get some patrols out there. It's the same people, more or less. You talk about defensive driving, when you turn down either end.
Where would you put it? Like up by Eddie, like in between Eddie Phillips's old house and new house? Like as you,
Just probably 50 foot from Jackson School Road.
right, yeah, on that end. Or, I mean, excuse
as the
I
city-
might, you could take this out of the thing, but I cannot, off the top of my head, remember our speed limit signs on both sides, or aren't they just one-sided? Okay, so you would put it on the right side of Phillips Road if you're turning off
Jackson School.
Jackson School. Yeah.
The other end, the city end.
Right.
Has one.
Yeah, the city's got it all the way to, as you all say, Clemsford Estates.
If there's action requested, my suggestion would be before you do anything specific today, is let Roy and somebody from the sheriff's office go out there and look at it and drive it, and maybe come back with one or more options.
Yeah, that'll work. What is the speed limit on that?
Well, and that's why I asked
Yeah.
Roy. I was like, I'm telling you, speed limit sign is not gonna keep people from
No,
slowing
it's
down.
not. It's not. But if it can't.
If you wanna be
hurt.
impactful, put a stop sign out there. But
Turning into Jackson School Road too, which is like I-85 in Atlanta in the morning.
It's true.
I mean,
I think it just makes people on the road feel better if
Yeah.
there is a speed limit sign.
Yeah.
I understand that
Yeah.
not everybody obeys.
makes them feel better before they get hit. That's a joke. It's up to the court. You just want to put a sign out there. But I do recommend sending at least somebody from the sheriff's department to go out
Yeah.
and take a look at it. And you got some environmental factors out there, and I don't know, Trent, you might be able to pull some data as far as collision data. The city might be able to have. I don't know if there's a lot of accidents out there. But we can do that, and then take action when we get back next court meeting. Okay. We'll go to item F, monthly report, treasurer.
Okay, I put an August report on your Commissioner Drive, and it is the revenue report as of August 31st, followed by the expenditure report, and then the last page is a bank reconciliation with our ending book value for August. And the quarterly report that ends in September is due to GLG this week, so you guys will have that in the next meeting. And I don't believe you have to vote for, to accept this one, just needs to note that I gave it to you.
All right.
That's all for that, for the report. Transfers is after that. Do you want me to move on?
Yeah.
Okay, for the transfers, the first transfer I have on there is to move $10,300 from fuel to workman's comp insurance. Our insurance premium came back over what it normally is, and so I moved that from fuel because I thought that at the point we are in the year, we're doing okay on fuel at this moment. If there's a different account you'd rather me pull it from, we can do that as well. All of the others below are just corrections for coding, so it's, if you notice, they line up with one another, so I moved retirement, the coding for the road department, for example, from one code to the other. It's still retirement for the road department, and it's to match up with how VIP does automation. It can't automate transactions that changes the first 6 digits, not that you care, but that's the reason I need to do that. And then there is a transient tax transfer, and it's $26,731.43.
Just out of curiosity, so when they send that, the unemployment, do they state a reason? I mean, so it was based on our,
So when we pay the first portion of our premium, it's based on us telling them what people's salaries are at a specific period of time, and them doing a calculation to figure out what the actual salaries will be, and then they come back and do an audit, and so we usually owe a little bit more.
Okay,
Because
so-
of what things the actual values were.
okay. So it wasn't based on our, what am I trying to think? The
The use rate,
claim, thank you. Yeah, okay. All right. Okay, I move that we approve the appropriation transfer.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Is there any reason to deny payment of the bills, claims? Hearing none, let the record show the court record the bills be paid. And we need to go into executive session.
So moved.
Litigation. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. we'll go ahead and call Marshall County Fiscal Court back to order. We don't have any further discussions. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.